thank you, but we just wanted to ask you just a couple of questions.
Sure.
As a lot of people know, when dealing with us and our listeners, we offer quite a bit of services, and we offer a lead agent on the property too. But we want to hear a little bit about the experience. I know that Vanessa was your lead agent, and
Sure was.
Yeah, basically from start to finish, what happened and how you felt the whole process was.
Because you actually, we've had two, because we had your folks and then we had your folks.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. So I got to see the perspective from two sides, right? Like my home was a different, it sold really fast and quick, while my parents, their market wasn't as strong as Stouffville, so it took a little time. So I did kind of see both sides of how it could go. But I mean, I am beyond pleased with the services that I received. The number one thing I find with servicers in general is that you have to chase them for updates, for what's happening. Sometimes you're not kept in the loop. And I think that's very important. I think that's something you guys do very well. You keep the client informed through the process. You provide them what the expectation is. You have all your information ready, and you're there. You're very reliable. And whenever we have a question, even before we have a question, Vanessa was just there just to give us the answer even before we can ask her. So I found that to be like very good service from you folks when it comes to that.
Made my day.
That's awesome. And that was, and it's funny that you touched on that as well too, because yes, a lot of people know us within the Stouffville community, but your parents were out in Toronto on the east side, so there's a little bit of a switch over there. But we had general good knowledge of the area. We grew up in Scarborough.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's amazing how, it was a very different type of market. And again, dependent on what the perspective of the buyers were.
It's all timing at that point, right?
And timing.
Timing and how many buyers are looking in that area at that given time. But you know what? Still went well, in my opinion. We waited a bit, but we got the number we wanted.
Yes, and my experience with both properties, when it came to my parents, what was really nice was the reassurance that we were given, right? Sales normally take 30 days. We got to get X amount of viewings before we have an offer, kind of like keep you reassured and not to panic. So that was very helpful for my parents as well, because it did take a little bit more time than my property. I also got to see the negotiation skills. Okay, and I know you guys are very strong with that, and I actually got to see that firsthand. With my property, we were very lucky that we had multiple offers, right? But what really struck me was with my parents. Vanessa really went out of her way to try to get at least 2 bids on the property, because the first offer that they got was, in my opinion, it was below value, what my parents were looking for and what the market was going for. But on the 11th hour, she was able to get somebody else to put a bid in that was interested, and that drove the price to where we needed to be. So I was very pleased with the negotiations as well on that.
And I'm so glad that, again, you also touched on that, because, it's marketing, but it's negotiating. And that's what we always say.
Yeah, that's what we're known for, negotiating.
Yeah, the two go hand in hand, because the marketing platform, that's great. We get viewership, we get appointments in, we go through the whole process, but what happens when you get the offer?
What are you doing with that after? That's the whole point. What do you do with those after?
Yes, and that's where sometimes you get what you pay for too, right? Like, there's a lot of other realtors that advertise for a lot lower, but they're not going to have the breadth of services that you folks have, right? All the way from the staging. The staging for me was very important. When I was actually looking for a realtor for my home, I had 3 people come by the house. Some others had much less commission, but they weren't interested with the staging. I was actually being told, your house is beautiful, you don't need staging, right? But I know that the staging will add the little bit that's needed, right? To have other purchasers put themselves in that space and actually have an idea of how it would be, right? So I think staging was important.